Hi, I'm March from StrataGames, and today we're taking my Esper Affinity stock list into the Pauper Challenge. We're playing, of course, Glinthawk, Skyfisher, Refurb, and Mirror Enforcer as our threats, Cryogen Relic, Cast Downs, Tithing Blades, Blood Fountain, Grim Bauble, Raven's Crime. Nile Spellbomb is all of our removal, card draw utility, Metallic Rebukes as a couple counterspells and Suffocating Fumes, sideboard right here. So let's jump into the first game right here. We're on the draw. Not a great hand. If we had blue mana, then any land we would draw would let us cast a Thoughtcast. We have a Skyfisher, but if we don't draw a land, we're pretty much screwed. Even if we get like a Cryogen for the Skyfisher, we don't have the blue for it. I think we got to mulligan that. This hand is better cards, better spells in it, but not enough lands, obviously. Oh my gosh. And this one is not great either, but I guess we'll keep it. Get rid of the Vault and Glinthawk. We obviously need to draw a land already that's blue and or white, so I don't think keeping 3 lands makes sense. Got to keep the Refurb because it's our only thing to cast. Not a great start. Cabaret Courtyard is their first land for a Plains. Interesting. We do get the Seat. That's pretty nice. That means I can play the Cryogen on turn 2, which could give us a decent start to this. Sheltering Landscape and Plated Sliver. Okay, Slivers is what we're up against. We have a fair amount of removal. Good amount of blockers, but obviously our opening hand is not the best. I'm just going to start with the Cryogen. Mist Vault Bridge, not really what we wanted to see. I would have taken a bridge that had white in it, but Cast Down's good though. I think this match is going to be very reliant on us finding our Mirror Enforcers, just because the rest of our blockers are going to get outclassed very quickly. The Mirror Enforcers are going to be able to block pretty nicely though. Looks like they're playing Naya. White-green is the main base of Slivers. I actually played Slivers pretty recently. Red though, they can have Haste or Provoke Slivers. We got the white source, so we got to get that down, and I guess that means I probably just hold up Cast Down. They could play some sort of protection, and I'm pretty sure a Muscle Sliver or any of the ones that give all their creatures +1/+1 is definitely going to be the one I want to target, so let's just kill it now, I suppose. Winding Way finds just a Hunter Sliver, 3 lands. That's good for us, so Provoke could be pretty good. Another Winding Way. Oh my god, that one whiffs pretty badly too. Just a Sinew Sliver. They spent their entire turn to essentially Impulse twice. Pretty good for us. So I could double Refurb, or I could just Relic. They still have 4 cards in hand, but taking their cards is pretty important. They also could play Hunter Sliver and Sinew, so they could be 2 3s that provoke, which I guess isn't going to kill the Skyfisher, so that's probably fine. Alright, let's go for the Cryogen. Part of me does want to make them discard 2 cards, just because I think if they run out of creatures, we're going to just already win. But I guess part of me wants to really get that Cryogen back. So let's just play it again. We get a Spell Bomb, probably not relevant. I guess if they just play like 2 Sinew or Muscle Slivers or whatever, this could be a 3/4 attacking and I can't really block, whereas if I play the Refurb I would be able to, so maybe I should have just gotten the Refurb down. Sentinel Sliver gives Vigilance, okay. And there's the Hunter Sliver. So just setting up for next turn. Blood Fountains are good because I could just recur these guys. I think I'll probably just ditch a land here, because it doesn't really matter if I get these down. If I ditch a land, I could maybe find like a Mirror Enforcer or something. Or a Glinthawk, that's good too. We'll cast Refurb, and they just go to Abundant Growth. I'm going to go for the Glinthawk on the Cryogen, so that I have as many creatures as possible. This way, if they try to force a smaller creature to block, I can just go for a double or a triple block to make sure it's a trade. There's a Sinew. Oh, then again, they can provoke each of them individually. Oh, well, yeah, I always forgot about that. Never mind, they can actually kill every single one of these here. Man, Provoke's so good, because they make each of these block an individual creature. And this one is inherently a 2/2 instead of a 1/1, so alright, that's pretty good. Definitely forgot just how powerful that can be. And they have Vigilance, so the Cryogen can't keep them tapped. That's annoying. Another Hunter Sliver is kind of redundant. I mean, if I can find a way to kill this Sinew Sliver, I think we might be okay, but I could just Blood Fountain back, Refurb, take their last card. I really need to find Mirror Enforcers and kill spells, so I guess we're just going to Cryogen. There's not really a better way I could have done that, though. I could have not played all of my creatures, but they still could have provoked the ones that they wanted and gotten in for the rest of the damage, so I'm not, like, I forgot how that was going to work, but I didn't really make a blunder, I don't think. Thoughtcast, Refurb. Alright, well, they get to provoke the Refurb, but I'll take their last card, which is another Sinew Sliver. That's a big deal. I guess I'm just going to Spellbomb to draw a card. I guess I might as well do it now, because if I find an Enforcer, that's pretty good. I did not. The top deck, a Lead the Stampede. Finds 2 Gem Hides and a Sinew. Sinew Sliver is going to be a problem. I think I'm going to die to this for sure. 15 million provoke triggers. It's got a block here. Skyfisher. Yeah, I'm going to Glinthawk. Bounce that back to hand. Pachuca Bog's irrelevant. Ancient Den. Yeah, this Hunter Sliver is just wrecking us. I mean, they can make us block here, they play Sinew, and we take lethal damage. I guess I'll play this because if I draw the Mirror Enforcer now, I'd be okay. I needed Thraben Charm sooner. that was quite unfortunate. I guess Blue Blasts for those slivers because they're pretty brutal. Shrivel, they're go wide, but unfortunately Shrivel's just never going to kill anything, probably. Suffocating Fumes I'm going to keep because it's an instant. If they did the provoke thing exactly how they had it there, but I had a Suffocating Fumes up, I could have traded for a bunch of creatures, so that could be relevant. Yeah. Getting a Tithing Blade going, recurring that with all of our guys, that would have been money too. I think we have ways to fight this, we just didn't draw very well. Take out the Raven's Crime. Grimbauble can pick up something, I think well enough that we'll keep it. Maybe it is just the fumes that we cut. Sure. We did also mulligan to 5, so obviously I think that contributed a little bit. This one's okay. We have a Blue Blast to hopefully not get shredded by a Hunter. Got the early refurb. They're probably going to play Masked Vandals, because those are slivers, as their artifact removal, so we need to be wary about what we put into their graveyard. Start with the Mist Vault and pass. They have their Courtyard. Let's play refurb. I guess this just lets them put a creature in their grave if they want to for the Vandal. They discard a Winding Way, though. I guess they betrayed them so much last game. There's a Sentinel Sliver. Attack for 2. And I'm going to Glint Hawk, refurb, hold up Blue Blast. And then next turn I can hold up or use Thraben Charm. Discard a Striking Sliver for first strike. Sinew Sliver. It's a 3/3, so I'm not going to block because I don't want to trade both of these for it. I would trade off one, and I might do that next turn with like a Thraben Charm on one of their guys. Mirror Enforce is good, so I get to play that for 2. I think we're going to attack then. They need to play like another +1/+1 sliver to even attack with the Sentinel Sliver, and if they do that and have no mana up, I can shoot one of those slivers and block the Sentinel with the Mirror Enforcer, so I don't think I'll need these to be held back. Winding Way, and they choose land. They actually hit better than if they had said creature, getting a landscape and a forest. So there's their red. I think Thraben Charm's far better as a instant speed spell, so we're going to keep it. But I think I'm just going to attack here. They miss a land drop. They're very much behind. We could just slam in for a bunch. Hit him with another refurb, and we have practically lethal in the air. But then also with the Enforcer, we'll be okay. Discard a Hunter Sliver. There's a Sinew Sliver and another Hunter Sliver. So I could just kill the Hunter Sliver now. Then we keep all of these. I think that's better than letting them make us block. So let's do that. All right. Took that game down. We had a pretty good aggressive start with some nice interaction. They obviously also missed a land drop, but that's definitely went better for us. Oh, I should have assumed they were playing slivers, as they are called Southern Sliver, I suppose. This hand's okay. We have the Blue Blast, which can be really good. Glint Hawk. We need to find some more creatures, refurbs, and stuff to kind of mimic what we did last game, but I think we're going to keep it. Start with the Mistvault Bridge, so I can play a Cryogen if I draw it, or I can just play like Blood Fountain Blue Blast next turn. I got a Muscle Sliver. There's a refurb. So I could Blood Fountain refurb this turn, which blocks this if they don't have like another +1/+1 guy. I think I really want to get the white down, and I think holding up Blue Blast doesn't make a lot of sense since I'm mostly holding it up. Like we saw First Strike and Provoke Slivers. Those don't matter until we have creatures on board, so I think it makes sense to just get our Blood Fountain down, make it easier on our mana next turn. Sidewinder gives flanking. There's a Winding Way. They hit another Sidewinder and a Muscle Sliver. So now I could double Glint Hawk. They're going to play a Muscle Sliver, have a bunch of 3/3s attacking in. I kind of need to find some more removal, so let's go for the Thoughtcast and refurb, and I'm going to play the Razor Tide so that I have more blue for next turn. Discard the Sidewinder. There's the Masked Vandal. They go for the refurb. Yeah, it's a little annoying. Swing for 4. Cryogen. Probably going to want a Cryogen, Glint Hawk, and hold up Metallic, so let's make sure we're playing our mana right. Although Glint Hawk cannot block these profitably because of the flanking. There's a cast down. We're going to take a big hit here, but I'm going to counter the Muscle Sliver if that's what they cast. Sidewinder's fine. Muscle is not. So we're taking 6. They have double flanking, so our guy would die before it does anything. It would still block, but there's a Mirror Enforcer. That's what we need. Cryogen. Refurb is good too. So it's refurb, Mirror Enforcer, and then I get to hold up Metallic, cast down, and or Blue Elemental Blast. Only one of the 3, but still, I think that should be pretty decent. Killing this Muscle Sliver is a pretty big game. Plated Sliver gives extra toughness. That's fine. Masked Vandal. They do have a Muscle Sliver in the grave, so I gotta get rid of that. Let's see. They're gonna kill the Mirror Enforcer. If I counter this, though, I can't cast down the Muscle Sliver here, which means this can't block very profitably, so I'm gonna have to chump. Yeah, but I gotta keep this around, I believe. Whenever a creature, so even if I try to double block with Mirror Enforcer, this is gonna die first, and this is gonna become a 2/2, so I can't kill any of them. Let's see what I'm drawing with this blood token. Another cast down. Okay. So I'm not blocking with the Mirror Enforcer. I'm going to cast down the Muscle Sliver. Probably one of these. I can keep one of these tabs. So I'm going to throw away. Oh, I should keep the Glint Hawk because the flanking is super relevant. We're going to go to 2 here, but I think this is what we got to do. With Raven Charm is more removal, so we can kill this, then this is going to be a 1-2 with flanking 1, can block. I might have to throw away the Glint Hawk, but that's fine. Hope for nothing scary off the top. That's pretty scary. In fact, I think that just kills us, because I can cast this and this down, but then I just only have 2 blockers for 4 attackers, and we're going to go to 1. Or we're going to go to 0. Yep, I guess I'll see if I can draw anything for 1 mana. I cannot imagine what that would be. Mirror Enforcer. Well, if I'd had that before, if I'd cracked this on my turn and then played that, I could survive. And if we could survive, I think we'd be okay. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. This sounds good. We're going to keep it. Looks like we're against Azorius Familiars, maybe. That is indeed what we're against. Play Chancery. Tithing Blade would have been a good one off the top, but we do just have... Well, there it is. That's not bad, actually. We do also just have a million cards with all our bouncers to get the relic back. I guess Tithing Blade could get prohibited here. It's not like I need to kill this Godfarer's Faithful either. And I think Tithing Blade will be really good in this match. So I'm going to lead with a Glint Hawk, see if they want to counter that. If not, we just get to pick this up and cast it again. All right, we got to discard something here. Everything's so good. I guess we're getting rid of one of these Cryogens, though. We want to find our second land anyway. Our fourth land anyway. So drawing those cards isn't obviously bad. They preordain. Play another Faithful and preordain. They have the second Chancery as well. All right, we hit our land drop. That's nice. So we're going to Tithing Blade. I like to hold up Rebuke, but that means I can't play a Glint Hawk to pick up one of our artifacts, which I don't love. Or I could just Tithing Blade and then Skyfisher here. We're tapping out a little bit, entirely. And they could have some pretty brutal stuff. Snap's really good here. Yeah, I think we're just gonna leave up the Metallic Rebuke. Tapping out just seems pretty dangerous. There's an Archaeomancer to get back a Preordain. It's not the scariest thing ever, but I guess countering this just keeps it off the field so that they can't flicker it. They have to find like a Mortuary Mire to get it back, and this might just waste their last mana if they don't have anything else to cast for just a blue, which they often won't. Mirror Enforcer's good. Swing for 2. So I think we're just going to Tithing Blade them again. We want to obviously work through their creatures so that the next Tithing Blade can hit a more effective target. I could Mirror Enforcer for 1, or I could Thought Cast to hopefully hit a land. I think we're going to go for the Thought Cast. We do hit the land. All right. That's nice. So I can cast Enforcer, Glint Hawk, back to Tithing, pick this off. And obviously, even though they are, we're not a burn deck or an aggro deck of any kind, the life gain can still be quite relevant. If they have multiple Faithfuls going, they can just gain so much life that it can offset our damage. Here they have Muldrifter, it looks like. No, Seagate Oracle. Okay. Holding up the white mana, though, for Ephemerate, I assume. There it is. They pass. Swing for 8. They take it. I'm going to go for a Skyfisher. Trying to pick up that Tithing Blade to prevent the Ephemerate from coming back. Could have a Prohibit for this, but it looks like they don't. So that's nice. Ephemerate's going to stay in exile then. Snap the Mirror Enforcer. A lot of mana floating for them. Evoke a Muldrifter. Looks like they don't have the Ephemerate. They got a Ghostly Flicker, the island. So essentially 2 mana and it doesn't rebound. And then Meeting of Minds. Interesting. They did draw a lot of cards. They didn't have to do the meeting right there. But I guess to avoid a counterspell or something, we're obviously going to Tithing Blade the Muldrifter, which means I have 2 mana left over to Cryogen, see if I want to draw something, cast something else. Tithing Blade the Drifter, cast the Mirror Enforcer. I guess we'll get the Blood Fountain down outside of counterspells. Seems pretty good. All right. Tithing Blade can be really good against Azorius Familiars if they only have 1 creature at a time. If you draw it later, it can be a lot worse, which is why I generally actually take it out when sideboarding, because you have to have it on turn 2 and have a bunch of bouncers, and they have to play creatures a lot slower than they usually would. So even though it was incredible there, we are going to cut it, along with the Blood Fountain, Fumes, Grimbauble for Duress, and Fairy Macabre. We prefer the single target removal that lets us choose what we kill. Obviously, the recursion of the Tithing Blade can be really powerful like we saw, but sometimes it's going to fall flat. Got another pretty good hand here. They start with the Faithful this time. We get a bridge down. They play a Familiar. So this is where a Tithing Blade would not be super effective, because like they just lose the Faithful, and cast down would be much better for the Familiar. Obviously, we don't have either of those, so all I have is a Refurb or a Cryogen. I think we'll go for the Cryogen. Double Mirror Enforcer. I could start getting those out next turn, potentially. Preordain. They play a Chancery, holding out planes. Thraben Charm is good. Let's play Refurb, and then I could play 1 Enforcer for 2 mana, or I could just play a Cryogen and play these out for cheaper next turn. I think I'd rather play them next turn because they're also a nice target for them to snap that doesn't give another ETB. Raven's Crime could be really good. They're already pretty low on cards, assuming they don't go for like a Drift or Ephemerate here. There's a Preordain and a Seagate Oracle. I think we need this land for the Mirror Enforcers, so I'm probably not going to discard it to the Raven's Crime, but if I draw another land, I might go for double Raven's Crime here. Yeah, I think that's probably good, because this also lets me double Raven's Crime and Enforcers while holding up a Thraben Charm, so that feels pretty good. 2, take a couple cards from their hand, Archaeomancer, and a Chancery, and then if they go for an Ephemerate, we can Thraben Charm in response. I assume they have an Ephemerate because they've just been holding up this white every turn, but maybe it's just that it's the only mana that's, the only spell that they really have are, for 1 mana, are white. They go for a Lorien, that's pretty good. I was worried about the Ephemerate, but now this let them cast it even when I could have tried to kill the Familiar. I don't think that made sense when they had a mana up to potentially Ephemerate it, but let them cast a Lorien for cheaper. We will kill it now, though. I think it's still pretty good. They don't have a land drop, so 4 spells in hand. And I think that the lands we draw is just going to be Raven's Crime fodder here. Discard a Last Breath. They're going to snap a Mirror Enforcer, go up to 5 mana. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Hard cast a Muldrifter. I'm going to just crack a Cryogen Relic here. It does make it so our Enforcer is more expensive unless we get another artifact, but I think we want to draw the land. Bojuka Bog is not bad, honestly. Let's refurb them. I'm going to play the Bojuka Bog. It's pretty good. I think it's better than the Raven's Crime here, honestly. Cast our Enforcer. I should have waited till the end step, though, because if they block the refurb with the Muldrifter, then the Bojuka Bog could have gotten rid of that. So that was a mistake. They have another Meeting of Minds. Yeah, that's also a reason. So yeah, I should have played that second main phase because that's 2 cards in their graveyard that could be relevant. They could have been exiled. There's another Lorien. Chancery. I'm going to crack this Cryogen. We still have the refurb to bounce if we find a bouncer, but drawing a card could be really good here. Even if we just get a land, we can at least Raven's Crime them or double crime them. I mean, they're at 6 cards, so it's not the best thing ever to be doing, but better than nothing, I think. Although it's possible I should actually keep playing the Razortide Bridge because it's our second blue could be good, and them pitching. What are they going to pitch that matters? Yeah, I kind of think playing this one is going to be better, actually. If they were at like 4 cards, 3 cards, it could make more of a difference, but they're not going to play 6 cards this next turn, so they pitch whatever they're not going to use, and then it doesn't really matter that much. Whereas if we get like a Thought Cast and then into a Cryogen Relic or a Metallic Rebuke, it could be really important to have that blue available. There's a Murmuring Mystic. That's pretty good. Of course, we have a kill spell for it, but it's a dangerous one to try to use. Unless they just tap out here. Oh, well, Dust to Dust. Yikes. That's pretty freaking good for them. We do get to kill the Murmuring Mystic in response, but they get a bird, and they take out these guys, so now we just have 1 refurb against a bird. We might not be able to get there. Swing for 1. Thoughtcast would be one of our better draws. Duress is not. I mean, it's fine, but we need something a little more proactive at the moment. Double Lorien. Yeah, this is really unfortunate. I think we're gonna fall short here. They cast Lorien and then Meeting of Minds. We get a Glint Hawk, make him discard another card. Muldrifter with Ephemerate. Well, that's a real bummer. That Dust to Dust was incredible. Let's try to get game 3. This one's a bit unfortunate because we need blue, but we have land drops for 3 turns. We have some pretty good cards. I think we keep it and just hope for the best. Play a Bridge and pass. Thoughtcast. Play a Vault. I'm not just going to run out of Skyfisher. We have like 9 blue sources that are pretty good to draw. We have 4 refurbs. Duress is not bad, as it can hopefully make it so we don't get Dust to Dusted, although if they have counter into Dust to Dust, it's not going to be able to matter. Yep. Start with the Preordain on turn 3. That's good for us. We get a Seed to the Synod here. We're still in a good spot. There's a Sunscape Familiar. Razortide Bridge. Well, not quite what we wanted. I guess I'll play a Mirror Enforcer. Almost feels like I shouldn't play it because it just gives them a snap target, but they don't currently have a Chancery, so it wouldn't make them much mana. I don't know. Lorien Revealed for 4 mana just seems like cheating a lot of the time. We do get to play our Cryogen. There's a Refurb. I think we're just playing the Skyfisher, though, and Bridge. I mean, we're a couple turns behind. Now we have our engine going and it's pretty good, but they got 7 cards in hand. There's an Archaeomancer. We get to Fairy Macabre, whatever they target. I'm going to go for the Prohibit and the Lorien, I think. It's pretty nice if they spend their whole turn just doing that, hoping to have a counterspell up, but then not. They also have a Chancery, okay. Bouncing an island, so they could have Dust to Dust next turn because they haven't had double white thus far. So that's kind of scary. I'm going to Thoughtcast. Well, I can double refurb them. I'm going to Thoughtcast again, I think. I haven't played a land drop. Duress would be good. Nothing else, I can just refurb and Skyfisher or double refurb or something. Discard now Archaeomancer. I'm just going to pick up the refurb here. Oh, they have another Prohibit. Okay. I just wanted a wall of counterspells, I guess. Oh, and I cast Thoughtcast, refurb, so they couldn't counter any of those with it. There's a Preordain. 1 to the top. Alright, Muldrifter's pretty good. They have an island and a Duress. Let's start with the Duress. If they have another Prohibit or Negate, they might just use that. If not, we can at least get some info. They do. It's a Thoughtcast. Would love some cast downs. Glint Hawk's not bad. Alright, we're gonna swing, and I can just double refurb them to tax their hand, block, and they have a Meeting of Minds. Oh my gosh. I guess taxing their hand's a little harder then. Think we're still doing it. Discard Island, Chancery, and I'll Glint Hawk it back. We're in a good spot, but Familiars is definitely a tough one to count out until fully dead. They just always have a lot of comeback potential. There's the Snap on the Enforcer, Lorien revealed, and another Lorien revealed. I mean, they're digging. Cast down, finally. Get to put them to 2. I mean, we're in a good spot for sure. Cast a Cryogen, Vault, so I can cast another Cryogen. Raven's Crime, I think I'd rather just cast this down, refurb, and Enforcer. So they got to deal with all of that. They're not getting a cost reduction. All right, we take that match down. All right, round 3 here. We got a decent hand. We need blue mana. We need some artifacts to bounce, but otherwise seems all right. They play a Contaminated Aquifer. We get our blue mana. That's nice. So at minimum, I could Thoughtcast next turn if we want. Obviously, if they hold up counterspell mana, I probably won't. They usually play Dimir Terror, so that's what I'm expecting. We'll just pass here. Brainstorm and a Thought Scour, mills of Fangs and an island. Pass again. So I could play a 1-mana Thoughtcast, but if they counter that, then all I can do is like a 3-mana Enforcer, which doesn't feel very good. I'd rather save this all for a turn where I can just kind of unload everything at once. They Brainstorm and cycle a Lorien, so that's 5 spells. They're going to pass. We get a Vault. I think I just keep waiting. As long as I'm hitting land drops, I'm fine. Things might get a little rough next turn if they play like 4 Terrors or something, but if they can only play 1 or 2, then we can use that opportunity to get our Thoughtcast and some other stuff going. Abandon Attachment. They discard a Snacker. There's a Ponder and a Terror. And there's a Terror. Just 1 though. I was hoping that we would draw something else so that like if the Thoughtcast gets countered, we'd have more to do, but it doesn't, and we get 2 cast downs. Well, I guess we get to play some Mirror Enforcers. We'll pass here. Abandon Attachments again. They get their Snacker back and another Terror, swing. So I want to double block, and then if they do anything funny, cast down, but they'll probably have a Snuff Out, and then I cast down and they counterspell, and that feels pretty bad. So let's just cast down, and then they'll probably counter it. But they might not want to tap out for our next turn. They do. Yeah, I'm still too worried about Snuff Out, unfortunately. I'm going to take it. Glint Hawk. This would have been a perfect turn for a refurb. Let's cast down the Terror. Attack for 8. I guess I just Glint Hawk. Pick up an Enforcer, Glint Hawk again. Feels like we're just losing tons of value there, but we're not drawing an artifact that we want to bounce. Mystic, they pass. Now we get the refurb. Cast that. Skyfisher, refurb. They Mental Note in response. Hit a Deep Analysis. If I attack the Glint Hawks, Deep Analysis brings the Snacker right back. So, I mean, they only have a couple cards in hand, but the Deep Analysis helps that, and we have no cards in hand. Another Snacker. And we get a bridge. They Thought Scour and Hardcast a Snuff Out. They can attack with Snackers. Yep, and we're gonna lose. Alright, bring in Duress and Fairy Macabre. Take out Fumes, Bauble, Metallic Rebukes. Alright, this hand is alright. I could play a turn 1 Spell Bomb, which is the safest way to make sure it resolves. Then we don't get to anything on turn 2, and then refurbs turn 3. And if it does get countered, we still have Fairy Macabre and Thraben Charm, so I think we're probably going for Goldmire Bridge and then turn 2 Spellbomb refurb. They just play an island. We're going to go for the Spellbomb. See if that resolves. It did, so we'll go for a refurb. That one gets 4 spiked. Alright. Aquifer, another refurb. I guess we'll play that into Glint Hawk. Hope for not a second 4 spike. But we're missing a land drop, so I don't really want to waste the mana. Thought Scour, hit Brainstorm, Mental Note. That's 5 spells. I guess we're gonna let it go this time, but if they could just slam down a Terror or a Gurmag. Thought Scour again. That means it could be a 1-mana Terror, and then they could play a second one. So if they cast one, I kind of have to pop the Spell Bomb, which case I should probably just pop it now so they can't get one at all. And this way I get 3 more cards, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of a tough call. They mill a Snacker. There's a Terror. We're going to exile the Grave. Then Cyclo Lorien. Glint Hawk, but now the refurb costs 2. Or I could just Blood Fountain. Yeah, let's do that. And then this way I can refurb Glint Hawk next turn, plus I can maybe hit my land drop here. I guess we're getting rid of the Macabre. We get the Vault. Okay, that was a good draw. Discard the Aquifer, abandon attachments, discarding another one. Ice Tunnel and Spell Bomb. 5. We get a Vault. So next turn I can Thraben Charm down the Terror. This turn we're going to Glint Hawk the refurb, discarding a Lorien. They cast a Snacker. Thraben Charm here is pretty risky if they have a cast down or a snuff out. It just won't work against the Terror. Oh, and we do get another Glint Hawk. Okay, so I'm going to Glint Hawk the refurb, replay that. They discard their card so that I'll know the coast is clear for next turn. Assuming they don't top deck a removal spell, a null, sure. This way I also can just triple block the Terror though. And if they don't top deck the removal spell, we'll be okay. No attacks means they definitely don't have it. They could have a counter spell though, obviously. Could also just attack. I don't really like putting the Snacker in the grave here though. I think we're just going to their upkeep and Thraben Charming on the Terror, because they could still have a counter spell. And they do. Pass the turn. Thoughtcast, but no blue mana. That's annoying. I'm going to Skyfisher, because if they get a removal spell, they're going to be able to attack, and our triple block will be bad. And this way we can at least quad block. Well, they have a Mystic. I'm going to Blood Token this away probably in our turn, but if I draw a Seed to the Synod, it'd be really good to keep. If we don't, then I'm going to cast this for 1, then pitch it and hope I draw a cast down. Refurb. Oh, well, I'm going to refurb and I think I'm going to start attacking with everybody. They can trade for one of these. They take 6, but we have another 8 in the air next turn. I'm sure they'll have some birds they can make. Can also attack with the Terror. Now, I don't think I'm double blocking, so I guess we're going to take it. Another Enforcer, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't think I'm going to attack with the refurb just because it dies to 1 bird. And surely they have something here. Snuff out. Hard cast. Yep. See, this way they would have been able to kill that plus the refurb. Now they gotta take 4. And I have the mana and I don't have anything else to do, so I think I just crack this now while they have to crack the spell bomb and not draw a card off of it so that they're top decking and don't get their extra card. They could let it go if they think the card they get is important enough, but they decide to crack it. Alright, and we win that game. This hand does not seem like it does enough to me. This one does less. I guess this one's okay, although the crime is bad. I guess the duress is bad. Duress is not bad. I guess the Thoughtcast could get stuck if like the Cryogen gets countered and duress maybe clears away so Cryogen can resolve the following turn. Well, now I wish I kept the Thoughtcast. Duress also gets 4 spiked here, but that's fine. It's kind of what it's here for. Brainstorm. Alright, Steel Sabotage, Mental Note, Lorien. They already have plenty of lands. They could have hidden their 2 best spells, or they could Mental Note them away. It's gotta be Steel Sabotage just so they can't counter a Cryogen or like bounce a land. But obviously they could just have a counter spell or an annul on top or whatever. Or another Sabotage. Mental Note hits Snacker, 4 spike. Brainstorm gets back Snacker. Refurb. I kind of have to Cryogen here and hope it doesn't get countered. It did not. Very Macabre is a little late though. And no land drop is unfortunate. There's a Terror and a Gurmag. I guess I should have just Fairy Macabre 2 spells from their graveyard away, but it's not usually where you want to be at. But it looks like we're going to die because we didn't do that. Skyfisher, gonna refurb Glint Hawk. Well, we're also just gonna die because we didn't draw any lands, so I guess it's a better thing to blame. I'll block the Snacker here. They cast Lorien, exile Snacker and Lorien. There's an Ancient Den, so we'll play a Cryogen Relic. We'll duress them. We could cast down. Cannot imagine we could win this one though. They abandon attachments. We'll block, cast down. I guess if I Skyfisher, pick up the Relic into a land, I can cast down and chump. That's something. We did cast down the Gurmag, and they got the counterspell. Round 4 here, we got a mulligan. This one's alright. We're going to keep and get rid of the crime because we don't have any black mana at the moment, and we're not going to be discarding first couple black lands we get, probably. Play a bridge and pass. Another Mirror Enforcer. Pachuca Bog is decent. They're on something white, but no 1-drop, so yeah. Trailblazer. Tithing Blade's going to be good. I wouldn't mind just a Vault of Whispers off the top. I appreciate that. Pretty sure it's worth just killing killing it now before they play another creature. Thraben Charm is also not bad because it can blow up an enchantment. Oh, and if they have nothing here, then I get to just play 2 Enforcers and not give them much time to recover. Play a Sandstone Bridge, we'll swing for 8, play a Refurb, and pass. Alright, get a quick game 1. We get Duress, place of Spellbomb, Blood Fountains, but unlike Bogles, obviously we want to keep our cast downs and all our removal and stuff. Shrivel doesn't feel as important here, but Fumes can still be decent as instant speed. This hand looks decent. We have Duress, cast down for interaction, and just a lot of card draw. They're also down to 5. They start with the Trailblazer. We're just going to Duress, try to take any protection. Sentinel's Eyes and Solid Footing. I guess we just take the Footing because it's instant speed and the Sentinel's Eyes can come back. Play an Armadillo so they don't die to a Tithing Blade. An attack for 0. Message received. Just gonna go for a Cryogen here, try to hit our land drop. Perfect. We should be in a pretty good spot from here. Sentinel's Eyes on the Trailblazer. They swing for 2. Cast down. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna Thought cast this down right now while they have no protection for it. Sentinel's Eyes from the grave. We're gonna Thought cast, Refurb, make them discard a card, Glint Hawk. I'll pick up the Relic. If I don't hit a land, I'm gonna have to discard, but that's fine. If we do hit a land, it's pretty good. Let's get rid of the Raven's Crime. Flashback to Homestead Courage and can attack for 2. Wheel attack for 4. Play a Relic, Refurb, and 1 artifact short of playing the Enforcer, but pass. Spirit Link. But now I could just cast this down and we get enough pressure to make sure they can't come back. We also even get to play an Enforcer here, so I believe that will be game. They do find their second land finally. They haven't given up. Trailblazer and Sentinel's Eyes from the grave, but only to be met by a Thraben Charm. Attack for 12. And we get match 4. On the play in round 5, got a mulligan. Alright, we're gonna keep this one. We need blue mana. That often seems to be the case. I've previously tried 1 or 2 more blue sources than what we're running, and in that case I usually find I need more black mana. So I'm not confident that just adding a blue source would be the best, but maybe we should mess around with the mana base a little bit. They have a Highway Robbery here, get back a Snacker. I mean, Tithing Blade is something we can play, so not the worst draw ever. Faithless Looting, discard a Kitchen Imp, Fiery Temper, bring back their Snacker. Well, that's pretty good. Pretty strong. Spell Bomb, a little too late. I think I'm going to pick up this Ancient Den, play the other Skyfisher so that if they have a bolt to kill one, I can still block with the other. Vampire's Kiss, pass. We're going to Refurb. Probably that's a Madness something, but maybe not if they just do the mountain here. I'm gonna go for a Spell Bomb. Could go for the Tithing Blade, but this seems a little better because then I can Tithing away the Sneaky Snacker next turn and it won't come back. Blood Token away a mountain. Flashback the Looting. Discard Alms of the Vein. Cryogen. Let's go for the Tithing Blade, and I'm just gonna pop the Spell Bomb now to try to hit our land drop. I guess we had 6 artifacts. I could have just played the Enforcer. Maybe that would have been better. Swing for 4. Highway Robbery. Discards another Alms. Vampire's Kiss, down to 4. Skyfisher. Swing for 6. Just gonna replay the Familiar. If they have Stuff to Madness, we're gonna die to it with the Blood Token anyway. And if not, this at least eats a card of theirs. They discard a Faithless Looting in response. Then a Swamp. Blood Token for a Kitchen Imp. Faithless Looting. Discards 2 lands. Grab the prize, discarding an Epicure. And Bolt. So we get Duress, Navigator's Compass, Blue Blast, and Fairy Macabre. And we cut most of our removal and Raven's Crime. Alright, this one's alright. We have Fairy Macabre for if they get an early Snacker. We have a bunch of card draw and creatures. Jagged Barrens. Start with a Relic. Cast in the Fire our Bridge. Alright, we have to take a turn off to play the Goldmire, but it's either that or we play a Cryogen here, and then we just don't have white mana for next turn. So we'll probably be doing nothing then. Faithless Looting, Kitchen Imp, and a Snacker. Glint Hawk for the Relic. Play it again. Rebuke can be pretty good next turn. I'll happily accept this trade. They grab the prize, getting back 2 Snackers, or so they think. Fairy Macabre takes them both out. My fairy's better than your fairy. Play a Mountain and Epicure. So I kind of want to hold up Rebuke here, but if I play a Skyfisher, I'm not going to be able to. Well, let's just start with a Thought Cast, see what we draw. Duress is pretty good. Enforcer's not bad either. This is 5 artifacts. So I could play Enforcer and then hold up Rebuke. Or I could just Duress and then Skyfisher. Let's Duress, because then I can play the Enforcer for cheaper next turn. Alright, Faithless Looting, and then 4 Madness spells. They have a Looting in the grave, and they have a blood token. Kind of feels like I take the looting then, though. I could still hold up the rebuke if they get like another faithless looting or something, but I don't think that's the right play here. Let's just bounce this back. They're just going to hard cast an Alms of the Vein, play a Jagged Barons. That's kind of interesting. They wouldn't just use the blood token, but I guess this was, in a way, kind of more mana efficient. We do need to find some life gain, because this is 9 more damage. Here's a relic, another relic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6. Play the Emir Enforcer. We'll hold up Rebuke. I guess I might just use it on whatever. Hardcast another Alms of the Vein. Yeah, I'm just gonna use this. Use our mana. Try to use our mana on our next turn to draw to find a compass or something. This does mean the Epicure can get in, which is a bit unfortunate. And they have another Epicure. Forcer. Let's crack this relic. Play another. Bajuka Bog hits their 2 faithlesses. That's actually pretty good. I mean, they still have blood tokens, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna swing for 6 here. We have 1 blocker for their 1 attacker. Hope to not die. Blood token discards Fiery Temper. Discard the other one. We're down to 2. Carnarium picks up a Jagged Barons. Refurb. Let's crack the relic. Fairy Macabre doesn't matter. I want to draw a Blue Blast, Metallic Rebuke, or ideally a Navigator's Compass. I guess I could make them discard 2 cards with the Refurb right now. Then they have 1 card left. But if it's just a Bolt or anything, I'm dead. It doesn't matter. Now let's go for this. I guess I can make them discard 2 anyway. Or I could play 1 more Relic or Skyfisher to draw a card, try to hit the Compass. I think I have a greater shot of that working. I'm trying to keep the Relic or the Skyfisher so that if I get a Compass, I can actually pick it back up. I don't know if it matters at this point, but yeah. Discard a Jagged Barons. Guess I'll attack for 10. Chump block with the Epicure. That tells me they probably even more likely are to just have the kill, and we die. We found only 2 of our 11 sideboard cards, and they were very good, but just could not find any more. We got a 1-lander here that we got a mulligan. This one we'll keep. Start with a bridge and pass. More Rakdos Madness, it appears. Play a bridge and pass. They plot a highway robbery, and I guess I gotta go for the aggro play, because we have just about no other play to make. They cast the robbery. I could have held up Thraben Charm for if they have like a snacker here, but it just, even if it did work, we're not progressing anything, which just doesn't feel very good. They Fiery Temper one of the Hawks, bolt the other one. I mean, it's not the worst to trade for some burn spells like that. Spellbomb is castable, I suppose. Play an Epicure, pitch an Alms of the Vein. We find the seat. I guess I'll Thoughtcast. Okay. I'm gonna Skyfisher bounce the Spellbomb, I guess. If we're going to be drawing 2 with a Thoughtcast next turn, I don't really want to set myself back on lands again here. They bolt the Skyfisher. Hardcast a Kitchen Imp. Sure. Raven's Crime. Let's play Spellbomb. And then go for the Thoughtcast. Refurb. Play a land. Yep. They Madness a Fiery Temper. To the face. We pass. End the festivities. Nice. We're down to 5. We'll Thoughtcast. I'm going to Raven's Crime, and then the Refurb will draw us a card. I know they might Madness something here. I don't really have any alternatives, unfortunately. Snacker's fine, actually, because that means we can Spellbomb it away. Refurb draws Mirror Enforcer. I think I want to get down the Glint Hawk for extra protection, in case they draw like another End the Festivities off the top, rather than playing the Relic here. We draw a Mistfall Bridge. If they get a couple bad draws, we could definitely pull this one out. Rakdos Carnarium can give him another damage next turn with the Jagged Barons. Cast down. Although I can make him discard that, actually. So let's start with a Cryogen, Mirror Enforcer, Raven's Crime to discard the Jagged Barons. We'll swing for 8. We're going to cast down the Kitchen Imp. They have nothing. Bauble. 12. I'll swing with the team. We'll crack the Relic just to see if we can get like a Metallic Rebuke or something. Land. Land lets us Raven's Crime them. Obviously, they could just have an instant or whatever, but if their top deck was like a Grab the Prize, I would very much like to make them discard, or Snacker, that's fine. We can obviously still exile them, Bauble to take out the Epicure, and they have to find 1 card that can deal us 5 damage, which they could if they get like a Fiery Temper. Not a Fiery Temper, a Faithless Looting into Fiery Temper or Alms of the Vein. 2 of those. Alright, we actually won that one, which is crazy. We get our 11 sideboard cards. Alright, this hand is just generically pretty good. It's not the most incredible against this opponent, but we do get to start with the Spellbomb on turn 1, which means we don't play a tap land. I think we're going to do that, actually, play the bridge. This means they could get a snacker down, but if we get a fast-ish Skyfisher or whatever, then we can have a blocker. I just don't like doing nothing on turn 2 here. Trespasser's Curse, that could be annoying. We do have Thraben Charms to blow it up. Let's just... Well, I'm not just going to play a Spellbomb here, so let's go for a Relic. Trespasser's Curse is not the end of the world, but obviously we do play a fair number of creatures and bounce some of them. There's the Grab the Prize Snacker, Jagged Barrens, Bridge. I could just keep this tapped with cracking the Relic, but I don't really want to be losing my relics until I have enough to get Enforcers out. So I think we're playing Cryogen here and then probably Spellbomb in case there's another Grab the Prize. More Enforcers. They suplex our white source. That is annoying. And play an Epicure. We can still play 2 Enforcers. Yeah, I guess we're gonna do that. Take some pings off of this, and then crack a Relic to keep the Snacker tapped. Duress for next turn. They go for a Robbery. Discard Alms the Vein. Compass would be our best draw, I think, because it would not only gain us life, but fix our mana, and offset the life loss from the curse. So I would love to see that. Okay, Thoughtcast. Could find it. Double Refurb. I make him go to 1 card, but I put us to 6. I think we might as well Duress and actually take one of the cards that we want, and then go for the Refurb. Fiery Temper's the most damage here, and draws a new card with the blood. Obviously, Vampire's Kiss kind of draws 2 new cards. Gonna take the Temper and play a Refurb, Bridge, and I'm gonna attack for 8. We're gonna take a couple extra damage. I don't think holding these back saves us that much. But they need to hit some bad draws anyway. And if we do manage to survive and then find the Compass, then attacking for 8 can be really valuable here. Cast a Faithless Looting. Discard Mountain Vampire's Kiss. So their last 2 cards are better than Vampire's Kiss. That can't be a good sign. We'll block the Snacker. They don't kill us right away. Let's Thoughtcast. So much good value, but this curse is going to kill us. Just going to crack the Spellbomb here. Compass. Pachuca Bog is a little redundant at this point. Crack a Relic. Like 1 Compass and we just win the game. There's our white source. We tap one of those. I'm going to attack for 4. Like 1 Compass and now I can just gain 9 right away. Or even a Thraben Charm to kill this would help a little bit. Jagged Barrens, we go to 4. So any creature we play, we die to a Bolt. But I don't think I'm casting nothing. So I'm going to Refurb here if they have the Bolt. So be it. If not, then I can play another Refurb. Yeah, that is pretty unfortunate. All right, we have an okay hand. We at least have a blue Elemental Blast. We have not been seeing a lot of our sideboard cards during these Madness matchups. Finally, first blue Elemental Blast of the day. They cast an Epicure. We're just going to hold up the blue blast for a Grab the Prize or a Suplex or whatever. Relic. That's not a concern to me. I literally took out my blood fountains, so not a concern. Well, I don't think I can hold up the blue blast this turn, though, because I'm not drawing lands. I have to try to find something. I mean, I can't cast a Thoughtcast. I can't do anything to draw cards here, unless I'm going to just crack this Spellbomb for no value, which I'm not. But I can at least deploy some artifacts to get the Thoughtcast cheaper next turn. I do discard a Snacker and Robbery. Discard a Mountain. I could get rid of the Snacker right now. I think I'd rather keep the Affinity count for our Thoughtcast. I'll take a damage. Metallic Rebuke. Can't really afford to hold that up when I'm missing land drops. Oh, we get all of the cards that I've always wanted, and we just can't cast any of them now because no mana. I'm going to crack the Spellbomb now to draw hopefully a land. Nope. I will discard Rebuke. They swing with both. I think I'm getting more value if I block the Epicure. I can't afford to block anything is the problem. I have to have this to like a Glint Hawk back. I need this for like a cheap Thoughtcast. I believe we've lost this one. They go for looting, discarding Alms of the Vein. There's a bridge. So I can hold up a blue blast while I Glint Hawk back this Refurb, I guess. They play the Trespasser's Curse again. Swing with the Snacker and we'll block this time. Another Refurb. I guess we'll cast those. Trigger the Curse. Discard a Mountain. Cast again. Trigger the Curse. Discard a Kitchen Imp, which they don't have black mana for. I could hold up the blue blast again. I guess we will. I just have some other things I really need to deploy for blue. So I maybe should have just Thoughtcast and hoped for the best on this turn. They're going to flashback Faithless Looting, and I'll counter that to prevent the Snacker from coming down and from them just looting. Swing with the Epicure, and I'll trade Cryogen. Alright, well this time I'm going to just, I guess, Cryogen Relic. There's the Compass. I'm going to hope / assume I'm not going to die this turn and not just play the Compass because, I mean, making myself lose some life here. But a land would be nice. Playing the Compass doesn't actually give us any helpful colors of mana this turn. Alright. And if we die this turn, bummer. Super bummer. We do get bolted down to 5. Blood token discards a Kitchen Imp. They don't swing for some reason. Alright. And we're going to cast a Compass. 100%. Play a Razortide Bridge. I can hold up Blue Blast and Thraben Charm for their Snacker in the grave. Swing for 2. Hard cast Alms of the Vein. Then Chain Lightning the bird. Okay, I'm actually fine with that, because then I'll just kill the Kitchen Imp. I can save my Blue Blast, but they still are not using this damage on me. Mirror Enforcer, attack for 2. Thoughtcast, Vault. I get to pick up the Compass, gain 3 life. Gonna play the Mirror Enforcer, we go back to 6, but I can still hold up a Blue Elemental Blast and a Thraben Charm. We have about a 3-turn clock on them. Extract a Confession. Guess I should have just blown up their graveyard when I had the chance. It's not the end of the world, but it does slow our clock considerably. Although if I exile their graveyard, then I was going to say it might give them more incentive to exile their relic, because now they had to use their relic to get rid of their own Snacker, and I can keep Thraben Charm for removal on a creature, or blowing up this curse. Why haven't I just done that? That's an interesting question. Play a Cryogen Relic, Skyfisher. Yeah, I should have done it on the end step, because now I'll take a damage if I cast the Skyfisher, so let's just pass. With the Blue Blast, I hopefully shouldn't die at this life total. Kill the curse, attack for 4, play Skyfisher. We don't need card advantage now, all we need is life, and we'll just have the win right here probably. Play another Cryogen, hold up Blue Blast, Thoughtcast, another Compass is perfect. Play a Cryogen, Skyfisher, play that, pick up a Compass, play that, and pass. They have a Grab the Prize, discarding a land. They don't even get damage. I'm not even going to counter that. I'm just gonna save it. Glint Hawk, swing for 8. Glint Hawk, and I think there's the safest play, and the play that makes the most sense is just to pick up a Compass, gain 3 more life. So we end up winning that one when we get a Compass. That's exactly why they're in the deck, and I wish I could do that a little more often. That's gonna put us at 3-3. We'll probably get like 30th place or something. Nothing super impressive, but at least we went even on our record. As always, I'm working on tuning my list. The meta changes so quickly, and the deck does have a lot of issues with just being a little too slow in the early game, especially if you stumble on mana. So I'm still trying to figure out ways to circumvent that. Overall, the deck is extremely powerful, but it can lose to itself more often than it really loses to everybody else. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you want to support me on a monthly basis, go ahead and check out my Metafy. Thank you to my current monthly supporters, including Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JD NPX, Tommaso Magnani, Apple Beta Pi, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.